Good day everyone, we're the reporters of Group 5. Our topic is all about education during Commonwealth period in 1935 to 1942. So the fundamental aims of education as provided by the 1935 Constitution are follows. First is to develop moral character, personal discipline, civic and science, and vocational efficiency, and to teach the duties of the citizenship. So it means that the Commonwealth aims to develop individuals in all aspects, so from being a good person up to being a responsible citizen of the country. The second one is education aimed to continue the promotion of democratic ideals and the way of life. So it's not all about the development of each individual, but also it promotes the principles of democracy as well as the way of life. So the third one is education under the Commonwealth was to help prepare for the coming independence of a new Filipino nation. So the Commonwealth was the culmination effort to secure a definitive timetable for withdrawal of American sovereignty over the Philippines. So until the Jones Law of 1916 that the pledge of uh, eventual independence were ready for self-governance was made. So through the Jones Law, the first fully elected Philippine legislature, the law was enacted by the 64th United States Congress on August 29, 1916, and contained the first formal and official declaration of the United States federal government's commitment to grant independence of the Philippines. So next is training was done through the public schools. So free education in public school was provided all over the country in accordance on the 1935 Constitution. So vocational education and some household activities like sewing, cooking, and farming also gave importance. Education in this period also emphasized nationalism so that students were taught about the life of Filipino heroes. So good manners and discipline were also taught to students. The next one is the private school, sectarian and non-sectarian. The institution of the private education was established in order to observe private schools. So sectarian is a school sponsored or supported and associated with a particular faith or belief system. So the non-sectarian is the institution does not adhere to a particular religious beliefs or tradition. So the last one is curricular emphasis was on character education and citizenship training. So citizenship education develops personally responsible citizens. So students will develop an understanding of societal values, develop knowledge and skills to deal conflicting values in acceptable ways, and develop an understanding of right and wrong.
So next, Executive Order Number 134, 1936 was signed by President Manuel L. Quezon designating Tagalog as our language. So Executive Order Number 134, issued and signed by President Quezon on December 13, 1937, approved the adoption of the Tagalog as the basis of the national language and Tagalog based thereon as the national language of the Philippines. Next, Executive Order Number 217, otherwise known as the Quezon Code of Ethics, was taught in schools. So, on August 19, 1939, on the occasion of his highest birthday, President Manuel L. Quezon issued Executive Number 217 prescribing a set of civic and ethical principles known as the Code of Citizenship and Ethics to be taught in all schools in the Philippines. Next, Executive Order Number 263 in 1940 required the teaching of Filipino national language in the senior year of all high school and in all year in the normal schools. So, in 1940, Executive Order Number 263 mandated the teaching of the national language in all public and private schools in the country. Then, the law also stipulates that the national language must be taught 40 minutes a day as a regular and compulsory 2-semester subject. Next, the Education Act of 1940 was approved by the Philippine Assembly on August 7, 1940, which provided for the following. So, first is reduction of the 7-year elementary course to 6 years. So, it means that from the 7 years of elementary course, by the power of this Commonwealth Act number 586, it was being changed to 6 years elementary course. Number 2, fixing the school entrance age at 7. So when we say entrance age to 7, it means that when the child reaches the age of 7, you need to enroll that child to school because 7 age or age of 7 is the minimum requirement age needed for you to enroll your child. Number 3, national support for elementary education, for example, like funds, books, and others. Number 4, compulsory attendance of primary children enrolled in grade 1. So, it is required to attend in classes, and it starts here when you enroll your children, and they need to go to school always. Number 5, the adoption of double single session in the primary grade with one teacher, one class assignment of intermediate teachers. So, it says here that when the enrollees is too many, you need to divide the classes into 2, the morning class and the afternoon class. So next, Commonwealth Act number 80. This law created the Office of Adult Education on October 26, 1936, so as to eliminate illiteracy and to give vocational and citizenship training to adult citizens of country. So, Commonwealth Act number 80, they have the right for adults to obtain citizenship and vocational training to overcome ignorance, for example, of natives. Example na sa natives. So, next, Commonwealth Act number 578. So, enacted on June 8, 1940, confirmed the status of persons in authority upon the teachers, professors, and persons charged with the supervision of public or duly recognized private schools, college, and university. So this act provide a penalty of imprisonment ranging from 6 months and 1 day to 6 years and a fine ranging from 500 to 1,000 pesos upon any person found guilty of assault upon those teaching personnel. So, Commonwealth Act number 518 state that the person in authority must respect teachers and professors. So, and if you do not respect them, you will have to pay 500 to 1,000 pesos and will be sanctioned for 6 months to 6 years if convicted.
Commonwealth Act number 589 in 1940 established a school ritual in all public and private elementary and secondary schools, consisting of solemn patriotic ceremonies that include the singing of national anthem and the recitation of the patriotic pledge. So, during this period, we start to practice the singing of our national anthem in schools and the patriotic pledge that is being prepared by a committee provided for in this act. So, the ceremonies shall be held if the school or college premises as often as may be practicable under the direction of the respective school or college committee. So, as we observe until now, we still will practice the singing of our national anthem, which is the Lupang Hinirang, and the patriotic pledge before we start our classes. Commonwealth Act Number 1, known as the National Defense Act of December 21, 1935, provided for preparatory military training which shall begin with the young in the elementary grade school at the age of 10 years and shall extend through the remainder of his schooling into college or university. The purpose of this act was to create an independent Philippine military, a move interrupted by the outbreak of the Second World War. So, as we observed, until now, we still have continued the preparatory military training for the secondary and college level students, and it is commonly known as the Reserve Officers Training Corps that train and develop college students in rudiments of military service in order to produce capable armed forces of the Philippines reservists. Presidential Decree No. 1706 of 1980, known as National Service Law, required all citizens to render civic welfare service, law enforcement service, and military service. Presidential Decree No. 1706, providing for compulsory national service for Filipino citizens and amending certain sections of Commonwealth Act No. 1 as amended, otherwise known as the National Defense Act, for the purpose. Section 2, Article 2 provides that the defense of the state is a prime duty of the government and the people, and in the fulfillment of this duty, all citizens may be required by law to render personal military or civil service. Section 1, Article 5 provides that it is the duty of the citizens to contribute to his country's development and welfare and to cooperate with the duly constituted authorities in the attainment and preservation of a just and orderly society. The National Service Law was being enforced until the Marcos regime, but then being suspended by the Presidential Memorandum Order No. 1 of President Corazon C. Aquino, except the provisions on military service.